Hey, this is Rachel Cunningham, and you're listening to Joyful Love, episode 72. If you're ready to bring joy and connection back to your marriage, stick around. Each week, I give you the tools to up-level your thinking, open your heart, and bring joy and fun back to your relationship. Because it's not enough just to stay married. We want to love being married. So I wanted to start this episode with something that I haven't done before, which is to read the reviews of this podcast that you've left on iTunes. So I'm just going to read 2 or 3 of them. And I first of all, I just want to tell you that when you leave a review, it helps me to know what you've liked, what's really resonated with you, and what to maybe talk about more. So, if you haven't left a review yet, please do so. It helps me, and it also helps others to find the podcast. It helps them to know what they're getting when they come here. So this one is from someone called Part of It All. And they say, every time I listen to Joyful Love, I'm reminded that it starts with me. I am worthy of love, compassion, and kindness. When I remember this first, my relationship with my husband improves every time. I will keep listening every week. Oh, I love that. I'm so happy that I'm so pleased that is what you got from this. Like it kind of blows my mind that that these simple words that I'm sharing every week causes you to feel worthy of love, compassion, and kindness yourself. And that you're realizing that the more you do those things, the more you get to spread that to your partner. I love that. So the next one I'm going to read is from Mannequin Girl. She says, Rachel is such a great empath and has wonderful skills to help each of us cope with whatever life throws at us. Fantastic podcast. Absolutely, Mannequin Girl. I am all about learning how to cope with whatever life throws at us, because that is my reality, right? If I could choose an easy life, I might actually do so right now. I don't know. But the true beauty is in actually being able to stand up and rise up whenever life does throw things at you, and actually be able to not only cope, but to rise with it, right? To rise with the challenge, to rise in love, to rise in compassion, to rise in growth, all of those things. So thank you, Mannequin Girl, for your amazing review there. Okay, the next one is from Erin. She says, I love this podcast. There are always things one can do to improve our marriages. This podcast can help those who are struggling, as well as those who just want to enjoy their marriage more. I love how Rachel speaks so conversationally. It makes you feel like you're with an old friend. She is knowledgeable in the area of joyful love and vulnerable about her own experiences, which makes her extremely relatable. I highly recommend this podcast. Okay, confession. I just realized it's Erin S. And Erin is actually one of my oldest friends. She is that friend that I can call up at any time, and it feels like no time has passed at all. And she's one of my dearest and best friends in the world. So thanks, Erin, for that podcast review. I love it when friends say amazing things about my work as well. So the next one is from Amanda. She says, I can't say enough good things about Rachel and her work. And the fact that I can now listen to it via a podcast makes me so happy. I highly recommend for this podcast for anyone in a relationship who wants more connection, more passion, more self-love, or simply put, more of the good stuff in life. That is from Amanda, who is actually a past client of mine. And I love that she can still get reminders and reviews of the work that we did together through this podcast. Okay, that's all I'm going to read for now. But I just wanted to kind of share those with you, and thank you guys for leaving those reviews. And if you have a review of your own, head over to iTunes and give me a shout out. I'd really appreciate it. And also anyone in the future who is reading those reviews, I think will really appreciate it as well. With that said, we're going to move into today's episode, which is all about my two favorite goals that I have for the year 2023. And it's kind of cliche, right? The beginning of the year, we always want to talk about goals. And I always joke around. My son asked me the other day, my 17-year-old asked me, he said, "What are your New Year's resolutions or your New Year's goals?" And I said, it's really hard for me to think about it like that because I'm like a Monday goal person. Like every Monday I have a new goal, right? Like I don't just create goals at the beginning of the year. I create goals throughout the year. And I kind of reevaluate what needs to be done this week that hasn't been done. And I think a lot of us are like that, right? A lot of us, especially type A people who are pragmatic thinkers, who are constantly thinking, oh, how can I do better at this? We often set goals for ourselves throughout the year. So, but that said, the new year is a really, really special time to really evaluate and look at your whole year and say, what massive changes or even small, tiny changes do I want to do this year so that I can really just, up-level these things in my life that need to be up-leveled. So most of those goals end up being health, wealth, organizing our homes, or managing our time better. A lot of times we have goals to improve certain aspects of our relationships, which is beautiful, of course. Like with me being a relationship, I am all about relationship goals, whether that's with your partners, your kids, your tribe as a whole, right? These are important goals. So our minds love to focus on these types of goals for the new year. And these kind of goals, they help to fill that need of survival, of safety, and of even creating more ease in our lives. And also the goal of better relationships fills our soul's desire for connection, right? So they're important. I don't want anything in this class to diminish those goals that you already have for yourself. But there is a part of our soul's desires that is innate to every single human being that does not get fed enough. That part of your soul that does not get fed enough is your expressive side. The expressive side, you might be wondering what that is. The expressive side is that little kid in you that just wants to go have fun. They just want to create and to go play and to explore new things just for the fun of it, just because it's exciting, not because it's going to fix anything, not because it's going to prevent something bad from happening, not because it'll help someone else, but simply because it's part of who you are. So today, I want to share 2 soul-driven goals that will help you to feel more free, more settled. It might even relax your shoulders a little bit, right? If you're walking around with lots of tension, it's how I have been the last few months. It might help to kind of just soften your shoulders. And yes, these 2 soul-driven goals are also going to help you to feel more loving towards your partner and towards your family. And maybe even towards that friend that you're having a hard time loving. I don't know. So the first goal I'm going to include this year for myself is to prioritize fun and creativity again. I've been practicing more and more of this idea that fun and creativity should be prioritized just as much as our health and emotional wellness. I've been practicing this over the years. And some of the ways I've welcomed this over the past few years are more hikes in nature, right? Just because it helps me to be present, to go have fun, to breathe fresh air, right? It's just, I can go take my shoes off and wade through the stream. I can sit and journal in the woods like that. That feeds that expression in my soul. I also spent several months last year, or maybe about 18 months ago, roller skating. Or not roller skating. That was this year. I was learning to skateboard a few years ago, and that was so much fun. And I stopped doing it. I'm kind of toying around with picking it back up, but it was so much fun to get on a skateboard and learn to balance and go down the road and just like let the breeze fly through my hair, right? It was so much fun. And I did it just because it was fun, not because it was going to give my body something, not because it was going to be beneficial for someone else, not because it was going to protect me in some way. In fact, I was a little scared of it. I was afraid I was going to fall and with my 45-year-old body and just break something. But I did it anyway because it was fun. And I remember back to those several months that I was doing it, and it was just like, there was something that just came alive in me. I was like, oh, this is exactly what my soul needs right now in this moment. And then a couple months ago, when our two oldest kids moved out, Chris and I started just kind of toying around with like, we have this extra free time right now. What can we do for fun? And I was like, let's go roller skating. So we started going roller skating at a local roller skating rink on adult night. And it was so much fun. Not only and we took a little break from it because life got busy, but we're going to get right back to it this month. And but it was so much fun not to just roller skate and to learn how to balance again on roller skates, right? Like I haven't done that since I was a kid. And but it was fun to just people watch, right? Like, and there's so many different types of people that are roller skating. It's amazing. If you like people watching and like kind of experiencing just like other people's joy in the moment, roller skating is a great way to do that. So that said, like these are some ways that I've really fed that desire for fun and creativity in the past. And I love my past self for being willing to play around with these things. But let's cut to the last few months. The last few months have been really challenging. And I'm really noticing some old patterns trying to creep their way back in. Patterns of over worrying about my people, patterns of over giving, of trying to protect others way too much, right? Crossing those lines for myself, even of just giving way too much in ways that maybe would be more helpful if I stepped back. And I can feel the neglect that the last few months have really had on my own soul's creative drive. Let's just be honest. I am a recovering people pleaser. I might be for the rest of my life. It's something that I'm going to have to be aware of for the rest of my life, I think. It's something that I have to bring awareness to and say, and continue to say, am I over giving in this? Am I over stepping my own boundaries of taking care of myself in order to take care of someone else? Most of you, I have found from talking to, are a lot like me. You are the people pleasers. You're the ones who have a tendency toward being the caretaker in just your everyday relationships, or possibly crossing that line into maybe borderline or full-blown codependent relationships, whether that's with your partner or your children or anyone else. But you are the caretakers. You are the ones who believe you don't have enough time for yourself because it might put someone else out. in one way or another, or it might be detrimental to someone else. You even tell yourself that. If I give to myself, it might be detrimental to someone else. And I know this because I am that person as well. So if you feel like that's you, your most important goal for the year of 2023 needs to be something that fills your own soul's desire to simply be, to simply express itself, right? So whether that's through fun or creativity or both, choose something to make a goal that you are going to feed that part of your soul that just wants to express, that just wants to go have fun. So several weeks ago, I began noticing these patterns of people pleasing and overgiving coming back into my own life. So I started asking myself, I took a step back and I asked myself, I remember I just sat down on the floor. I sat down on the floor in my kitchen when I was feeling overwhelmed. And I just said, Rachel, what would you do if you had zero responsibilities? If you had zero people to take care of? If I was able to just sit and be bored and have ample amounts of free time, what is the first thing that I would do just because I wanted to? And my answer came surprisingly quickly, like immediate. As soon as I asked myself that question, it came very quickly. It was, I would learn how to play music. This is a desire that I've had since I was little, since I was very little. I don't sing very well yet. I don't play the guitar very well yet, but it's something that I have always had a desire to learn. And I've just kept putting it off until a better time. Now, it's not because I didn't value the arts. It's not because I didn't value music and creativity, because with my own kids, I have always prioritized whatever their creative drive was. And with my husband, I've encouraged his creativity. And honestly, I'm really proud of that. It's one of the things that I look back over the last 25 years of being a wife and a mother that I actually got right, right? I got that part right. I never, not once, thought that their creativity and their expression or their drive to make music or art or to go act in a play or to make a movie or whatever it was, right? I've never diminished that, right? I've said, yeah, that sounds amazing. That's what your soul wants. Go get it. Don't hold yourself back. In fact, I mean, with my kids, I kind of encouraged it more than school, which isn't surprising to me because for myself in high school, I prioritized that the arts way more than I did any academics. And I have no regrets about that. That's who I am. That's who my soul is. I ended up marrying a creative guy and I ended up having kids who had a deep desire to create. And I have no regrets about that. But as I look back, I wonder why I didn't continue prioritizing that in myself after I got married. And I think honestly that my answer is if I prioritized it in myself, it might hinder someone else's passion. It might hinder someone else's desires and their drive. How could two people be passionate about the arts, right? How could two people be passionate about creativity? And then when I had kids, it was just like, it all became about them. So not only, in my mind, I thought not only might it hinder the goals that other people have or the needs of other people, it also might hinder my own goals of organizing the house, of, keeping the house clean, of taking care of my kids, of my own health. I always prioritized everything else because I had so many goals. I was driven, but that drive to be there for everything in my life hindered my ability to also prioritize my creativity and my soul's desire to express itself in those unique ways. So back to what my soul told me that I would do if I was completely bored or had zero responsibilities. My soul told me to go play music. It was clear as day. Sitting on the kitchen floor, feeling exhausted, I closed my eyes. I said, what do you want? What would you do if you had zero responsibilities? And it told me, go play music. But currently, I'm not good at music. So I decided to get good at music. I decided to sign up for singing lessons and guitar lessons for this year. And a very interesting thing happened. Like, before I had signed up for that, before I actually signed up for them, I had a client session, and one of my clients, I was asking her the same thing, like, what would you do just for fun? And she said, I would like to sign up for singing lessons. And I immediately said, oh, me too. So we actually both made a commitment that week to sign up for singing lessons. And so I did that. I signed up for singing lessons, and I also signed up for guitar lessons. And I've already had my first lesson with each of them. And I'm taking guitar lessons from this amazing man who plays group bluegrass guitar. And it's super fun and really challenging. And I can already tell, like, I'm going to learn so much from him. And so that's what I did. And I'm thoroughly enjoying it. And it's a time in my day to let go of all the pressures. It's a time that I genuinely do not even think about my loved ones. I don't even think about them during that time. I don't think about my business. I don't think about how dirty my house is. I don't think about how I need to organize things. I don't think about how I need to grocery shop. I don't think about any of my responsibilities during my lessons or during my practice time that I've scheduled in every single day. And it's a beautiful way. I'm really into meditation too. I love meditation. I think that meditation is a great way to practice being present. But having something that you simply love to do just for fun, just for creativity, is also a beautiful way to just be present, to practice being present in the moment with just who you are, right? Even though I am learning to be good at music, learning to play the guitar, learning to have more strength in my voice in singing, in those moments, there's something that, because I'm doing it just for me and because I'm not doing it for other people, there's something that I just feel good enough, right? And I think that's such a message that we carry as women, that we're just not good enough. Nothing we do is good enough. Right. And that's part of the reason we struggle so much with stress, is because we're walking around constantly trying to do more and do better, and which can be a beautiful thing. Right. I'm all about growth, but I want that growth to come from a place that is, I am already good enough. Just being, just doing something that I enjoy is good enough. And having something that you can do creatively and just for fun is a great opportunity to just practice being, just being you, not trying to be something, but just simply being. I genuinely believe that not only is this goal of learning music going to feed my own soul this year, and really help me to just simply remember that it's okay to just be, and that I don't have to be doing anything important. I can just be. I can create, and I can have fun, and that is good enough. But I also believe that it's going to nurture my relationships. I'm not doing it to benefit my relationships, but I believe that it's going to benefit my relationships anyway, because the more whole I am as a human, the more I'm able to relate with and communicate with and connect with my loved ones. If we're missing one thing in our personal lives and in ourselves, and that's a part of us that is not able to connect with that part of our loved ones. Do you see that? So if I'm not feeding my own creative soul, it's hard to communicate with someone else's creative soul, right? So I encourage you, ask yourself, yours doesn't have to be music, okay? Like a couple of years ago, mine was skateboarding, right? So I encourage you, ask yourself today, what would I do if I was totally bored? If I had the opportunity to just sit around all year and have zero responsibilities. We all know that's not true, but I want you to take yourself here, allow your brain to just relax a little bit and say, if I had zero responsibilities, what would I do? And include that in your priorities this year. Whatever that answer is for you, include it at the top of your priority list this year. And you might be saying, well, that's great, but maybe now's not the right time, maybe in a few months, right? There is no better time than right now to feed your creative soul. It needs it. That is goal number one that I want you to really entertain and welcome into your life. What is that creative thing? Prioritize it. What is that fun thing that you want to do just to express, just to be, just to enjoy life? Prioritize it and commit to it. Okay, the second goal that I am working on for myself is also born out of the last several months of it's just been a more stressful time in our lives than others over the last few months. So this second goal is born from that as well. I have a tendency to withdraw whenever something gets really difficult. I have a tendency to go inward and to avoid. And what that really is the inability to receive love. So my second goal this year is to recognize earlier, to bring awareness to that struggle in me, to the desire to avoid other people and to withdraw from other people during stressful times. And to ask myself, okay, you're avoiding, you're wanting to withdraw. And then to ask myself, how can I receive love right now? So that's my second goal, to get really good at receiving love this year. And that's going to look different every single day. It might look like letting my husband hug me for a really, really long time and just melting into that more and more, instead of giving over to my brain that says, oh, I got to go do this thing, or my body's too tense to receive a hug, right? That's kind of what my brain tells me. So I want to bring awareness to that and then like purposefully breathe into his hugs more and just allow myself to melt into it. And not only that, but asking for those hugs more. And asking for more physical attention, asking for more massages and more, more affection, right? So being willing to embrace it when he wants to give it. And if I notice myself wanting it and he's not offering it, then asking for it and saying, I could really use a hug right now. I could really use just to be held, right? The other night I said, can you just hold me really, really tight? And just being willing to ask for that more and willing to sink and melt into his love even more. It might even look like greeting my dog with much more excitement, right? Because my dog has so much love to give, right? If you have a dog, you probably know the feeling of as soon as you enter the room, he's like, oh my gosh, my person is here and he has so much love to give. Dogs are just filled with massive amounts of love to give, and they want it back, right? They want to receive it back. So my goal this year may be to like embrace the love of my dog more, and to really lean into those times, and to not only give him love, but also receive his love, right? Dogs are so intuitive. They're so, if you're having a hard day, they want to come right by your side. If you're having a happy day, they want to come right by your side. They're so intuitive, and they're so beautiful at being these little buddies for you during the day. So my goal is to just embrace my doggy a little bit more this year. Another way to receive love, I had this kind of revelation the other day that was really interesting. It showed up the other day, and in a unique way that I wasn't expecting. So I was just being present with myself, practicing my guitar, practicing my C chord and the G chord and the D chord, and practicing my scales. I was just playing around on the computer at the kitchen counter. And my son came in the room, my 17-year-old son came in the room, and he picked up his guitar and just started playing with me. And I realized in that moment that we have never played the guitar together before. And how fun that was. How fun it was to be doing this new thing and finding a new way to connect to my soul. But it was also a brand new way to connect with him, and a new way to show him love, and a new way to receive love from him. Right? Our souls were connecting just because I decided to do something creative on my own. And so that's another way to receive love, is to just go be yourself. And when you're enjoying your life, others are going to want to join you. So if you're a people pleaser, if you are constantly giving to other people and constantly worrying about other people, you might be noticing a deficit, and how much care and how much care and love that you are receiving yourself. Okay, so in order to continue to give love, you must also get really good at receiving love. So that is the next best thing that you can do for yourself and your family this year, is to get really good at receiving love. And sometimes that does look like asking for love. Right? So not only can you ask for love, but you can also start noticing those unique, special ways that your loved ones or your animals are trying to give you love, but you might be resistant to it because your brain is telling you that you don't have time for it, or it's not the kind of love that you want in your way, right? This is a great opportunity to ask yourself, what are my loved ones' love languages? What is my spouse's love language? What is my children's love language? And start to notice how they're trying to show you love, but because it's different than your love language, maybe you haven't been receptive to it. This is so important. We don't want to use the love languages against ourselves. We don't want to say, I have a love language that's different than my partner's, so we're just two opposites and we can't figure this out, right? And we also don't want to, use them in a way that's like, oh, he should be loving me in the way that feeds my love language. What if we flipped that? What if we can get really good at allowing our partners and our kids to love in a way that they do so naturally, right? How is their most authentic way to give love? What feels good to them? And can you get really good at receiving that love? Can you practice like getting good at going, oh, wow, this is how they're loving me? Instead of criticizing the way they love, can you get really good at saying, this is how they're loving me, and it's beautiful, and I appreciate it, and I'm going to receive it. So those are the two goals that I think will really help to feed your soul this year. Number one, asking yourself, what am I missing creatively? Or what do I want to do just for fun? And then number two, how can I receive love instead of just being the one to give it. I truly believe that these two goals are going to do more for your family life than anything else you can try this year. And if you have goals of improving your health and improving your home life and bettering your relationships and making more money, if you feed, I truly believe this, if you feed your creative soul and you practice receiving more love for yourself, it's going to help those other goals as well. All right. I can already see this. Like in the last few weeks, I've really been practicing these two things. And I can already see like my passion for other things in my life are coming back. My passion for my work, my passion for just keeping a decent home and loving my partner, right? Of taking care of myself, right? Of practicing yoga every day, right? All those other things are easier when my creative soul is fed as well. And when I'm really good at receiving other people's love. Okay, that's what I have for you guys today. And I want to welcome you to come work with me. If you want the kind of results this year that not only improve your relationship and improve your connection, create a more healthy communication environment, and causes you to be able to see your true worth and your partner's true worth, which is the foundation of a really beautiful, healthy marriage. I invite you to book a free consultation call with me this week. It is the perfect time to really dive in deep and say, where can I grow this year? And also, where can I include my marriage in that growth? How can I explore the possibility of creating a marriage that feels amazing to be in, the kind of marriage that I can't wait for my partner to come home, and I can't wait to sit down and talk to them, right? And to plan for our future and to meet the challenges in life with peace and joy and kindness towards myself and my partner. How amazing would that be, right? If you know that you have a big part to play in improving your relationship, my coaching is excellent for you. You will rise so much more quickly in the goals that you have for your relationship and for yourself by working with a coach. So with that said, book a free consultation and I'll talk to you next week. We'll make a plan. We'll dive into your life and we'll see what is working, where you're really rising and meeting the challenge of life. And we're going to highlight what you're doing well in that, because I know there are so many things that you are just showing up like a boss at, right? I want to highlight those. We're going to bring awareness to the things that are not working, that are like thorns in your side, right? They're just like, they're gnawing at you every day. And you're really aware that you need to improve in these areas. We're going to highlight those as well. And then I'm going to show you what the real issues are so that you can know exactly what to focus on and create the kind of life and marriage that you love living. All right. Book that call at rachelcunningham.com/work with me. And I'll see you next week. All right. Bye, guys. Thanks for listening to Joyful Love. If you'd like to know more about my work, come visit me at rachelcunningham.com. That's Rachel spelled with an AEL, Cunningham.com.